mile from the Country Music Hall of Fame is Arnold's, a meat and three that's earned accolades from America's culinary institutions. It does a bustling lunch business, complete with genteel but aggressive jostling for a table.
What sauce do you have on your meat?
Oh, I don't know, whatever gravy they put on it. Here, can you put your drinks under our trays?
Not it?
How'd you get so much pie? What? How'd you get so much pie? We're sharing two different pies. Are you making your tray?
We just finished eating lunch at Arnold's, which has been covered by pretty much everybody. Food Network, James Beard, Southern Foodways Alliance. It's a meat and three in Nashville, and you stand in line with your tray and you go up and you get your vegetables, you get your meat, and you pay and you go and sit either at a communal table or at a smaller table. We sat at a four-top. I don't think that it was nearly as good as Nikki's West, though. Even though the pies were better, I think overall the food at Nikki's West was better in terms of the quality of the individual vegetables. The flavors were just a lot cleaner, I think. And this place, it feels a little bit too well traveled. I think there's a sense of it being known and mapped. There's like a definite cartography of like food tourist destinations across the South, and this is firmly at one pole. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's not worth going to, as long as you have the right expectations coming in. The expectation that it's going to be very good, but probably not great. As I was saying to Zach, I thought that it was very good, but that greatness oftentimes requires a sense of a place being not so exposed.
Not so what? Requires not being so exposed. I'm not quite sure what he means by it. Maybe that it's so famous now. It's kind of like Doe's Eat Place. They kind of get a big head because they're famous now.
That's why people are so interested in like off the beaten trail stuff, because
we're trying to look for that authenticity.
Yeah, that's what authenticity is being uncontaminated by the outside world.
We have to go up to that street and turn right. So I think that's taking us up the block.
I mean, I think you can't really deny that there's a huge difference in experience between Nikki's West and Arnold's that has nothing to do with the style of food or the style of the place, but rather just the degree to which Arnold's has been established or canonized.
Right.
That should be...
I found hospitality in the most unlikely places you might think of.
I got it.
I bet it's fried.
I mean, you can smell how spicy that is just from like opening it up.
You gotta get a picture of it.
It's not going to be boiled.
Across the Cumberland River in Nashville, Bolton Spicy Chicken and Fish is just a tiny dining room in the kitchen with a sign on the door to knock for service.
Well, I can eat mine. He said mild.
He said he's making yours mild.
I'm gonna stop for a minute later.
We have Prozac if you need it.
Back behind the barred counter is a colossus of cast iron pans filled with splattering oil and a battered couch. We just finished eating at Bolton's. It's a hot chicken place. They do hot chicken, hot fish, that cayenne pepper shake that goes on it. You know, it puts the hot shake in Harlem to shame. My mouth is just on fire. My entire face is burning. Cayenne pepper was going everywhere into my eyes. I just demolished that. It went down to bones, and something really satisfying about eating chicken, you know, just prying it apart with your hands and just cleaning it off so there's nothing left. And as our last meal in the South, I have to say this was one of the more satisfying, and it showed me that, you know, part of eating in the South is about knowing that you just push yourself to the point of excessive pleasure. and that's how you live. That's just the way of life. Whereas in the North, where the instinct is much more puritanical, eating is much more repressed. And so I think part of the appeal of Southern food in the North is it's an opportunity to enter into a world of non-repression.
What is it? This place?
It's been updated though in some.
Dairy Dip is the best name ever. Dairy Dip.
Not a national chain here. Take a picture. I got it.
Oh, I don't know. Who's just like on this now?
Rusty? You gotta read the kind of specialty shake.
We're here at Bobby's Dairy Dip. We gotta store up that fat for the winter, try to carbo load for the non-exercise, the long car ride to Chicago tomorrow. So yeah, it's been good in the South, and now we're heading back north. And what I realized after eating at Bolton's Spicy Chicken and Fish and at Bobby's Dairy Dip is that Southern food is freedom. Spiritual freedom, an ability to leave behind the confines that society places upon us, the expectations that we have living in what is essentially a Protestant, puritanical American society, to leave that behind and to live in a more spiritually free and accepting world where food doesn't have to be something you feel guilty about, but it's something that you feel good about. And if you really like Southern food, I think that you need to ask yourself, is the fantasy one of freedom? Freedom from the oppressive, controlling societal impulses to restrict yourself, to purge yourself of anything that is hedonistic. And I think that for myself that's true, and after this trip I've realized that first, you can't use food as a way to access a real kind of freedom necessarily. Two, that it's alright to sometimes indulge in that and to obtain freedom like that. But thirdly, that because now I know that Southern food means freedom to me, I can seek out ways in my everyday life to try to gain more freedom from what I personally perceive to be these constraining elements of the social and political landscape I inhabit. And that's what I think. Okay, I'm done now, man.
Can you do any voices? Which one? Okay, do me.
The post-structuralist arguments of David Hume's mathematical concepts of arco-relativity suggest that some things that we perceive to be true about barbecue are actually not true because there's too much sugar polyenzymes in them to support Hegel's theory of the historical man. Dude, the Stello's creeping me out. Can I? Okay. That was creepy. God.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.